Welcome to the Men of Wonder podcast. My name is Kuri, your host, and today I'll be doing part three of consultancy or building consultancy business. I've had a challenge for the past 2 days. I'm currently working on a project that I've been working on, and I was doing the same things that I've been saying right now. So I went through the whole calling my shot, which is in 2021, we're going from zero to a million with a new product. So I'm going to be documenting the rest of that journey as well. And I was doing the second part as well, which is researching the customer, so customer research or market research, actually, to look of a better term. So looking at the people that are influencers in that industry and also looking at how things are being sold over there and the gap in the market. And I've seen the gap in the market, so we're going to go for it. The only thing that I find a little bit scary is that there's not a lot of people doing similar thing that I'm doing, so it's not a proven market. But I guess if we manage to structure it properly and position it properly, then there's every chance to make it into a million by hopefully end of summer next year, and probably definitely by December we'd have made a million, which is quite exciting because I'm actually calling the shot. And if I make it, then I look like a hero on this podcast. If I don't make it, then it's at least you'd have learned something in terms of um, structuring and setting up your business and everything. So I'm going to be documenting it on this podcast as well, and giving you guys an idea of how it's going and where it's going, how things are going, and hopefully with the everything that doing at the time is the same formula that a bunch of you will take as well in order to go and make your first 100,000 or half a million or a million as well, or even go beyond what I'm calling out, go into 10 million, because the structure is all the same. The way you do it is all the same. Always comes down to your mindset. So today we're going to be talking about the blue ocean, because we're talking about red ocean, and we talked about how everybody discovers a thing and then they go and do it. So before, like again, we said somebody discovered a market. So if it was for fitness, they decided they wanted to teach people how to become more fit or how to get six pack. So they've gone out and done that. And as they were doing it, they were the first ones. Started making so much money because they were the first ones. And then everybody started wanting to teach on fitness. And then all of a sudden, it becomes a very competitive market. So everything in that market is now based on price, and it becomes very difficult to join in that same business because you're trying to join in, and instead of being complimentary of the market, you're competitive. So it's priced to the lowest. So most people start up their business and they try and be competitive, and this is the reason why they end up never making it big, because it's not about trying to be competitive. It's actually finding something that complements that, and then you create your own little market. So this part is what we're going to be talking about: creating your own little market. And it's not quite your own market. It's the same market, but you're just presenting a new thing. So remember, we talked about the market research, and when you're market researching in that red ocean, you're looking at the things that are missing that you can now present in a way that will get you to sell a product, or at least uh, plug the gap, and then make the money by plugging in the gap. So again, we talked about the duct tape marketing, and that's part of the thing that we're looking for. What's that thing that's missing that you can bring in order to you know to cause cash or to cause the cash flow? And in terms of consultancy, this is the things that you're looking for, that you need to get the business owner that you're consulting to actually start seeing ways of repositioning the product so they can come to it in a different way. Now remember, you're positioning it differently. The whole market might be positioning their product as a thing for wealth or health or relationships. So you might just have to structure it a little bit different. So if you think about a haircut, some people might think having a haircut is healthy because maybe it allows your head your head not to heat up if you live in a warm area or something. Or some people might think, having a haircut is makes you look presentable, so that means you can get a job in an interview. But also, if you get a haircut, then it means that you look attractive and you might attract. So you're it's still the same haircut, but it can be sold in different ways. So it's you being able to figure out how you can structure that thing that you're gonna be plugging in, so you can sell it in a different way to the same market. So again, when you're presenting it in a way that is different. Now with the blue ocean, you have to now understand the customer behavior. So, in the sense of that, the customers, there's three types of customers in the red ocean, and those again, this is to give credit to Stephen Larson, who I've learned so much from, and this is some of the stuff that he talks about. And basically, there's three different types of customers within that red ocean. There's customer number one, who is a diehard. They will vouch for that thing that they've been purchasing for forever. So there's some people that, for instance, will never use any other toothpaste but Colgate. They've only known Colgate and they would never choose anything else. And then there's some people that's number two who would shop based on price. So depending on what's on offer and what's there on the they'll just buy based on price. And then there's some people who are using Colgate but do not like it at all, and they'll be looking for an alternative. And these are the people that you're most likely to want to be trying to get. And those are the ones that you're trying to figure out. People that have been using the thing within that red ocean, and then once you see that, once they're using it, they find that they're not as satisfied. Again, you remember the analogy of the man who drives a car outside, a brand new car, and then he parks it up and then puts the duct tape, some every mirror for himself. Those are the people that you're looking for. That person is the typical number three, and those are the people that you're going to be trying to sell from. Because once you can figure those people out, and you go to the business owner and say, "This is the target audience," and then you get those people, you look like a rock star because it's literally changing the messaging. And when you change the messaging, then you are now targeting those things. So, and most people, when they set up their business, they do message their business to target the number ones. And those number ones will never buy because they never. So, again, if we're talking about Colgate, you're telling them that come and buy this Aquafresh. And they're like, no, I've always used Aquafresh. In fact, I'll move from the toothpaste um, I'll move away from the toothpaste analogy and go to Coca-Cola and Pepsi. It's just because I watched this documentary recently. So if you just in case you're wondering what I do on my days off and when I'm bored and I want to watch TV, I watch silly documentaries. And you have to have fun. You have to watch films. You have to watch silly stuff. But I just happen to enjoy documentaries. So that's my thing. I like to really enjoy documentaries. And it's from a learning standpoint, but also just the fact that I'm just fascinated by different things. So I was watching the war between Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and how they've warred for many years, and the different tactics that they've used. And in the world, there's people that either like Pepsi or they like Coca-Cola. And if you go to a diehard Coca-Cola, there's no way you're going to tell them to drink Pepsi. And this is where most people's targeting goes to in terms of messaging. So when they're writing their message, they say, "Come and buy this Coca-Cola" to Pepsi people, and then they wonder why their business is not working because it comes down to this. So we're moving people from a red ocean again. That red ocean is made out of three customers, and you're looking for those number three customers, the ones that are they would drink Coca Cola, but they're open to something else. They just drink because that's the drink that's there, that's the one that's available, that's what they're familiar with, but they're open to something else. Those are the people that you're going to be after and targeting. And the way you speak to them, again, now getting to the important bit, is the most important thing. So how do you drive those people from the red ocean to your blue ocean is comes down to the messaging that you make. So the messaging become is like the most pivotal thing. It's not even the product itself. The product is secondary. It's the message, because when you can understand this, those people become what we call either hot, cold, or warm traffic. And when I say cold, they 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 either problem aware, they're not problem aware, which means that they like Coca Cola and they'll never leave Coca Cola. Then you got the problem aware, but also solution aware. So some people that drink Coca Cola, they're not too bothered that they drink Coca Cola, but would be open to something else if it's cheaper at a cheaper price. Those are the number twos. And then we call them warm. And then the hot traffic are the ones that drink Coca Cola but do not like it, would definitely want something new. So, in the case of Coca Cola, maybe let's just say from the fitness standpoint that the Coca Cola is they don't like it because it's full of sugar. They want something else with less sugar. Then that person, the moment you present them a thing with no sugar, all of a sudden you're going to be buying like crazy. And if that's your job is to find those ones that are not happy with the current structure and the current standing. So I hope you see how powerful this is, and I hope you can see that you don't even need a proper degree to do this. This is it sounds very simple, but you'll be surprised how many business owners do not even know what I'm talking about right now. And again, like the fact that we're talking about how messaging is more important than the product. This is how many different companies have built successful businesses. So, um, just to put it to perspective, the iPhone is not the best phone on the market right now, but it's the messaging that they do. In fact, uh, it's only recently that they started putting phones on their adverts. If you look at the adverts way before now, before Steve Jobs died, there was never you would never see the product. They would advertise, but you would never see what they were advertising because they were concentrating on the messaging. And this is important because Steve Jobs, when he started Apple the first time, he launched the product and it was a massive flop because he was trying to, in fact, he had an article on the New York Times and he had literally, I think, 2 pages full of jargon, talking about, processors and, gigabytes and stuff like that. And it was just information that was so, um, you know, hard to digest for the normal person that when they did try to sell it, it absolutely flopped. So they ended up firing Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs when he got fired, he then went and bought a company called Pixar, which is a company that was looking to make um, animation. So they were trying to move because the process of making an animated film was a long process. You needed artists, you needed all this. So this guy created a computer with special software that would be able to create the the animation a lot quicker and much better resolution and everything like that. So he bought this knowing that this could be something that is massive. So they went in. This was to the honest, the back end of of producing this software and thing. And then all of a sudden he bought this and then he tried to sell it and it flopped again. So you can imagine he's flopping with something that is groundbreaking and is and then all of a sudden the guys that they were when they were working said, you know what, uh, it's something that is new, Blue Ocean. So let's go and make a film with this. So you end up getting people to come and write a story, and then they wrote a story, and then they actually made a film, which was the first featured animated film by Pixar called Toy Story, and this is how Toy Story came to light. And because Steve Jobs was working with people that were very good at telling stories, he realized the power of story. So he ended up now using that on his second coming to Apple, where he ended up becoming the legend that we know right now. That he started weaving stories into the brand. So people like me, I'm straight up iPhone, iMac, MacBook. I'm straight up Apple, but it's the messaging that has got me to be part of Apple instead of PC. So it's again, it's the messaging that becomes very important, not the product. Because if you look over the years, there's been better iPhones than the iPhone. There's been better camera resolution. There's been better apps on Android, but there's people that are loyal. In fact, they took 75% of, of the share in terms of mobile phone sales. So it just goes to show the importance of messaging. So the messaging is what gets the the people out of that red ocean into your blue ocean. Again, blue ocean is in your own market, and then that's how you sell to them, and then you can actually create something that can cause a lot of cash. So, and these are the same concepts that we'll be using in the project I've been working on. And this is why I've been able to call the shot that next year I'll be starting from 0 to 1 million, knowing that there is a potential of actually doing it. In fact, there's a high percentage of it happening. The only reason why it won't happen is because I'm standing in the way and I'm the one that's doubting myself. And that's the truth. It's not the fact that the strategy doesn't work. It's just that me, I'm the one standing in the way. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So messaging becomes important, and now also delivery of the message. So like now, I think if you look back in the episodes, I talk about why I podcast. The reason why I podcast is that I'm educating my market and I'm creating my market is speaking to you guys. So as you guys ask questions, I'm asking questions, answering questions on the podcast. I'm speaking to multiple people on different topics, relationships, finance, business, different things that I do have skill or at least have had experience in. And if, for any reason, if I'm not experienced, then I try and get somebody on who can shed some light on the thing that you're asking. So it's in terms of a consultancy standpoint, uh, this is exactly what you need to be start doing. So if you choose your market, you know what your market is. You start talking about the things that are the new thing. So you've seen that gap. You start talking about the things that you've seen within the gap. So if it's the case of that you've discovered, if it's Coca Cola versus Pepsi, and you've discovered this sweet tasting drink that is very healthy and a healthy alternative, then you start talking about a healthy alternative. And again, this is better than the other soft drinks that you've seen out there in the market. And I know that you guys are sick and tired of having Coca-Cola or Pepsi because they make you fat, whatever. This is now the new thing, and this is the thing that you can actually enjoy. It's refreshing and it's also healthy. So this is a the healthy alternative. So you're not going to get those number ones. You might get some number twos, but you're definitely going to be getting number threes. And again, you're now creating your own market, so that your market share is going to be your own people that will be coming to that place. So I hope you see how powerful this is. This is now what part three. I didn't make part three on Wednesday, but I'm making it now. So it's part three. In a few hours, I'll make part four, and then in the next if possibly today or tomorrow, I'll make part five. So hopefully you can see the power of making, um, your own market and how you can make your own market. So I've talked about the blue ocean, and that's sort of touched upon messaging. So we're going to really go diving a little bit deeper into messaging on the next one, and then talk about how you structure the message and how it works in terms of you getting your consultancy because for you consulting for a business owner, and then how you can actually use the business owner's business in order for them to get more customers using story and how you can weave it in. So that's going to be exciting to talk about because that's one of my favorite parts about this whole thing. So thank you very much for listening. I hope it finds you well, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. I'm really enjoying this bit, and yeah, it's quite exciting. So thank you very much for listening. And if you want to learn more, go to the Men of Honor podcast, Men of Honor Facebook group. And if you got any questions, get me on my Instagram, Curry Mahamba. So thank you very much. You take care.
Hey guys, I'm recording at the end of this lesson, and I forgot to actually give you guys the mission. The mission is for you to actually, because you've written down the problems that you found when you're doing the market research, those problems, I need you to categorize to see how much of it you're solving for that business owner. So, for instance, if you are cleaning his business premises, then you're quite disposable because anybody can do the cleaning side of things. But when you can come in there and, for instance, go and get them customers, then you can get paid more for the skill set. So you're paid for the skill set that you're gonna bring, and in terms of this case, you're bringing more customers. So it becomes really important for you to actually discover a problem that you're solving within that business. And bringing customers is one thing, but also being marketing or doing whatever activities, that's another different skill set. So just try and figure out and see out of the problems that you've seen, categorize and see which one is quite high in terms of demand, in terms of you actually finding the gap. So how much of that are you going to solve? Because I want you to start looking at the biggest problem that you can solve so you can get the highest paid. So thank you very much. I'll be seeing you on the other side.